So we are about a quarter way through the 2019-20 season, and last offseason, we had so many huge changes around the NBA. Every NBA team fairly made a pretty big deal. Either it was a top draft pick, signing a top tier free agent, or trading away a solid player. So we are going to be grading every team's top offseason move so far this season. If you guys could leave a like on this video, I would really appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get into this. So we're going to start off with the Atlantic Division, and the first team we are going to talk about is the New York Knicks. The Knicks had two solid moves that I really didn't know which one to put over each other, so we're going to do two. So the first one is the signing of Julius Randle. I'm going to give this grade a D+. He's averaging around 3.5 turnovers a game, 51% true shooting percentage, which is well below league average. He's the highest usage on the team at 26%, and the Knicks are the worst team in the Eastern Conference at the moment. The Knicks are 4-18 through their first 22 games, and Julius Randle has not been good so far for them. The other big offseason move for the New York Knicks was drafting RJ Barrett with the 3rd overall pick. Barrett has been pretty inconsistent this year. He's averaging 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists on 39, 30, and 53 splits. So yeah, shooting 30% from 3, below average, 39% from the field, below average, and 53% from the line, well below average. He's actually been playing pretty solid defense, but the fit on the team overall has not been good whatsoever, so I'm giving it a B-. Staying in New York, we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets here, and now obviously their biggest move was signing Kevin Durant, but he isn't incomplete so far since he hasn't played. So the next biggest one was signing Kyrie Irving. I'm going to give this a A- so far. He's only played 11 games so far due to his shoulder injury, and he's actually going to be out longer than people expected. He is averaging 28 points and 7 assists on 56% true shooting percentage so far though, which has been incredible. The Nets have actually been pretty solid without him due to the emergence of Spencer Dinwiddie as their number 1 option, and I think an A- is a good grade for Kyrie so far. Next team we're going to talk about is the 76ers, who made two pretty big moves in the offseason. The first one was signing Al Horford. I'm going to give that an A-. Al Horford is averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists so far this season. He's shooting 39% from 3 on 6 attempts a game, which is great. We all know that he's a great defender. He's averaging a steal and a block a game. The 76ers have a 103 defensive rating when he's on the floor, which is great, and obviously we know he's one of the best passing big men in the game. Next big move the 76ers did was the sign and trade, moving Jimmy Butler to Miami and getting Josh Richardson in return. I'm going to give Jay Rich a B+ grade so far. 16 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists a night as well. He's shooting 39% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. He's a great perimeter defender, and I think B+ is a solid grade for him. Now for the Toronto Raptors, it was pretty much going all in on Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. We know that they lost Kawhi Leonard in the offseason. I'm going to give this an A for the Raptors so far. The Raptors are 15-6. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference so far. Fred VanVleet has been great, especially when Kyle Lowry was out. FVV is looking like he's going to get paid in the summer of 2020. And Pascal Siakam is looking like a future MVP candidate. He's proving that he could be the number 1 on a good regular season team, and we'll see come April if he could be that for a good playoff team. On to the last team of the Atlantic Division, we have the Boston Celtics. Their big move of the 2019 offseason was signing Kemba Walker, and I'm going to give that grade a B+. Kemba has been good to start off the 2019-20 season, but he hasn't been fantastic yet. He's averaging 22 points and 5 assists a night, and the Celtics are one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, but he's just been pretty inefficient from the field overall, mainly on 2s. He's shooting 40% on 3s, which is great, and he's taking about 9 attempts a night, but he's shooting 40% from the field overall. You're definitely going to expect that to go up throughout the year. I'm going to give that grade a B+. Moving over to the Southeast Division, the first team we are going to talk about is the Atlanta Hawks, and their biggest move of the 2019 offseason was drafting Cameron Reddish and DeAndre Hunter. I'm going to give that grade a C- so far. DeAndre Hunter has definitely been better out of the two. He's averaging 12 points a night, 4 rebounds, and he's shooting 36% from 3 on about 5 attempts a night, which is pretty solid. He's also been okay on defense, nothing special, but he's definitely been serviceable there. Cameron Reddish, on the other hand, though, hasn't been that good so far. He's actually been pretty terrible so far this season. He did have a nice game the other night against the Brooklyn Nets where he had 25 points, but they did lose by 12. He is a 41% true shooting percentage, which isn't very good whatsoever. He hasn't been a good defense player at all either, and let's just hope that he can improve more throughout the year, and which he will. He's a young rookie. Moving over to Charlotte, their big offseason move was signing Terry Rozier. and I'm going to give that grade a B. Rozier is doing a lot better than people expected. He's averaging 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists so far for the Hornets this season. He's actually been pretty efficient as well. 44% from the field, 40% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a night, which is great. He's also shooting 86% from the line, and he's actually being a nice fit with Devontae Graham out there. I expected this to be a lot lower of a grade so far this season, but no, I think a B is a fair grade for Rozier and the Hornets so far. The biggest move the Orlando Magic did last offseason was re-signing Nikola Vucevic. I'm going to give that grade a B- so far. He is averaging 17 points and 12 rebounds, a little bit down from what he was doing last year, but still being a good center. He's played 14 games so far. He's been out with a right ankle injury. It was an uneventful offseason for the Orlando Magic. They did take Chuma Okeke to start off the non-lottery first round. They did re-sign Terrence Ross. They brought in Al-Farouq Amino, so this was definitely the biggest move so far, and I'm giving it a B-. Moving over to Miami, it was the sign-and trade for Jimmy Butler, and I'm giving this an A+. At this current moment, the Miami Heat are the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, starting off 15-6 in their first 21 games. Jimmy Butler is averaging 20 points a night, 6.5 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2.5 steals. And we all know that he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. A lot of people were questioning this move last June, but I think this is an A+ so far for the Heat. And the biggest move for the Wizards this past offseason was probably taking Rui Hachimura with the 9th overall pick in the 2019 draft. I'm actually giving this grade a B- so far. He's averaging 14 points, 6 rebounds, assists and a half a night. He has not shot well from 3 whatsoever, and I wouldn't say he's been good on defense whatsoever either, because the Wizards are on pace to have one of the worst defensive ratings in NBA history. But I think he's turning into a lot better of a pick than people expected, and I think a B- is a fair grade for Rui. Moving over to the Central Division, we have the Bulls drafting Kobe White. I am giving this a C+ grade just because Kobe White hasn't been too efficient to start off the season. He's kind of been a shot chucker whenever he gets the ball in his hands. He's averaging about 25 minutes a night, but taking 12.5 shots in those minutes played. He does look really good in transition. He's a really good ball handler. There's definitely room for improvement, and I think C+ is a fair grade for Kobe. For the Detroit Pistons, their biggest move was signing Derrick Rose to a 2-year deal, and I'm going to give that move a B+. Derrick Rose is averaging 16 points and 6 assists a night and shooting 49% from the field. He's also had his highest usage percentage since 2014-15. He's been a very solid point guard for the Pistons so far, definitely better than what Reggie Jackson would have been, but Jackson has been hurt, and I think Derrick Rose was a good signing, and I'm giving that move a B+. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, it was drafting Darius Garland with the 5th overall pick. Garland has struggled so far to start the season, especially on defense. He hasn't been that good of an offensive player either, kind of below average at shooting at the rim, but he's been an okay 3-point shooter, shooting 37% from there on 4 attempts a night. He's only 20 though, and he played minimal college games. I'm giving this grade a C, but I'm definitely expecting this to improve throughout the year. And the last team for the Eastern Conference is the Indiana Pacers, and their move was signing and trading for Malcolm Brogdon, and I'm giving that move an A. Malcolm Brogdon has done a fantastic job in the absence of Victor Oladipo, and he's being their #1 option, and he's playing well in that aspect. He's averaging 19 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds a night, shooting 47% from the field, 34% from 3, and 94% from the line, which is incredible. He's a great defender on the perimeter in the pick and roll. He's a big reason why the Pacers are 7 games over 500, and I think this move is definitely an A, and if you even want to give it an A+, I'm fine with that. Alright, moving over to the Western Conference now. The first move is going to be for the Pacific Division, and that is the Warriors getting D'Lo in exchange for Kevin Durant. I'm giving this move a B+. D'Lo has been solid so far. He has missed some time with injuries. He has played 11 games and is averaging 24 points and 6 assists in those games. The Warriors do have the worst record in the NBA with a 4-19 record, but that is not D'Lo's fault. I also like this move because now it gives them a very valuable trade asset to possibly move past December 15th or in the 2020 offseason, and I'm giving this grade a B+. So for the LA Clippers now, we have 2 moves. Obviously, the first one is signing Kawhi Leonard, and I'm giving this an A+. Kawhi had a really good start to the regular season. He's cooled off efficiency-wise as of late. He's averaging 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 5.5 assists. Also, 5.5 assists is by far a career high for him. 44% from the field, 31 from 3, which isn't too great efficiency-wise, but we know that he's one of the best defenders in the NBA. He's obviously missed some time with load management, but I think this grade is definitely an A+ deserving. The next move was trading for Paul George, and I'm giving that grade an A so far. Paul George has played 11 games, just under 30 minutes a night, but he's been really good in those 11 games, averaging 24 points a game, 6 rebounds, and shooting 42% from 3 on 9.5 attempts a night, which is absurd. He's been a great defender for the Clippers so far, and him and Kawhi are going to be a big reason why the Clippers are going to be finals contenders this season. Staying in LA, we're going to be talking about the Lakers trading for Anthony Davis, and I'm giving this grade an A+. The Lakers are tied with the best record in the NBA at 19-3 with the Milwaukee Bucks, and AD is probably the main reason why. Him and LeBron have both been incredible this season. AD, though, might be the frontrunner for Defensive Player of the Year. He's leading the league in blocks with 2.7 a night, 26 points per game, 9 rebounds, and shooting 34% from 3. And like I've said, he's been incredible on the defensive end as a rim protector, especially. And I'm giving this grade an A+. Moving over to Phoenix, their biggest move was signing Ricky Rubio, and I'm giving this a B grade. Now, at the start of the season, I would have given this an A- or a B+, but the Suns have cooled off as of late, and Rubio hasn't been that great shooting the ball. He's shooting 39% from the field on taking a career-high 11.2 field goal attempts a game. He's averaging 8.7 assists a night, and he's been a great facilitator for them, and he's been a really good defender for them as well. He has missed some time with injury, and I didn't really like the signing at the time, but he's proving a lot of people wrong, and I think B is a fair grade. If you want to give him a B+, though, that's fine with me. The biggest move the Sacramento Kings probably made in the offseason was giving Harrison Barnes a 4-year, $85 million contract extension on July 8th. It is a descending contract, so it is front-loaded in that aspect. I know a lot of people weren't huge fans of the contract at the time, but he's actually been pretty solid for the Kings so far this year. 16 points, 5 rebounds a night, and shooting 37% from 3 on 4 attempts a night. He's also getting to the line about 4.5 times a night, which is a career high for him, and he's shooting 80% from there. I'm giving this grade a B, and I think that's a lot better than what people would have expected it to be. Moving over to the Southwest Division, we're going to start off with the Houston Rockets, and their biggest move of the 2019 offseason was trading for Russell Westbrook. I'm going to give this grade a B so far because I don't really think that they would have been much worse if they kept Chris Paul. Now, I do think Russell Westbrook is a better player than Chris Paul at the moment, but he's been really inefficient to start off the season for the Houston Rockets. He's shooting 39% from the field, 22% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a night, which is not good whatsoever in that volume. He has been a solid defender, a good passer, a good rebounder. He's just been pretty inefficient, and that's the reason I'm giving this grade a B. For the Memphis Grizzlies, their biggest move was drafting Ja Morant. Now, you could have said it was trading Mike Conley, but I think this one is a little bit more exciting for them. He's averaging 8.5 points, 6.5 assists, 1.5 steals a night as a 20-year-old rookie. He's actually out with back spasms at the moment, but he was great in the 17 games he's played so far. In my opinion, he's the front runner for Rookie of the Year. A- grade for him. They didn't mess up this pick. Good for them. For the Pelicans, their biggest move obviously was drafting Zion Williamson, but that would be an incomplete at the moment, so their biggest move was mainly trading away Anthony Davis. Now, I'm going to give this grade a B+ so far. It could be a B as well, just because Josh Hart and Lonzo have both missed time due to injuries, and Brandon Ingram has as well, but Brandon Ingram is making this trade look okay for them. Brandon Ingram is averaging a career high 25 points a game, a career high 7.2 rebounds a game, a career high in assists with 4.1 a game. He's been incredible so far to start off his age 22 season. He might be on his way to winning the Most Improved Player award. Lonzo and Hart haven't been that great though to start off this season. Like I said, they've missed time due to injuries. And obviously they got draft picks out of this. They were able to get that 4th pick, in which they traded down to take Jackson Hayes, who's been alright. He's shown flashes, but nothing special. And I think a B+ is a deserving grade for this trade. For the Spurs, their biggest move was probably re-signing DeJounte Murray, and that just came at the end of the offseason. This happened on October 21st, which was before the season started. And I'm giving this grade a B. Murray hasn't looked great on the offensive end at all. He's shooting 45% from the field, 21% from 3, but he doesn't take a lot of threes at all. 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals a night, and he's only getting to the line 2.3 times a night. But we all know that he's a good defender. I'm giving this grade a B. I think I'll go up. It's a rehab year. He did tear his ACL last year and missed all of last year's season, so this is a rehab year. I think this grade will go up, but I'm giving it a B at the moment. So for the Dallas Mavericks, their biggest move was also a re-signing, and it was giving Kristaps Porzingis the rookie max extension. I'm giving this grade a B so far, but this is a rehab year for Kristaps, so I'm not going to judge this year too much. He will obviously get better throughout the year, and this grade will obviously go up. But at the moment, I think a fair grade is a B. He's averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds a night, but he's only shooting 40% from the field, 35% from 3 on 6 attempts a night. But he's been a very good rim protector like we expected, and he's actually been the best rebounding player so far in his career. I think a B. If you want to give it a B+, that's fine, but I think this grade will definitely go up throughout the year. And the final division is the Northwest Division. The first team we are going to talk about is the Denver Nuggets. Their biggest move was giving Jamal Murray the rookie max extension. I'm going to give that grade a B+ so far. Murray has been the best offensive player for the Nuggets so far this season, and the Nuggets are a current 14-5, second in the Western Conference at the time I am recording this. He's averaging 18.5 points a night, 5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and shooting 90% from the line and getting there 3 times a game. He's shooting 34% on threes. He's been a really good offensive player. His defense, on the other hand, still isn't great. If you want to give this a B, that's also fine, but I think a B plus is a fair grade for the Jamal Murray extension. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, it was trading up in the draft from 11 to 6 to draft Jarrett Culver. Now, they didn't really give up a lot. It was just the 11th pick in Dario Saric. So, yeah, it wasn't a lot at all to move up 5 spots into the top 7. I'm giving this grade a B minus just because Culver has struggled so far this year. 9 points a night, 2.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds. He's shooting 37% from the field and 28% from 3. He's barely getting to the line only 2.2 times a night, and he's shooting 43% from there. They tried him at point guard sometimes, and it's just really not working out, but he's only 20 years old. You'd expect this grade to get better, but I think a B minus or even a C plus is what's perfect for this move at the moment. For the OKC Thunder, it was trading Paul George. Now, I'm giving this grade a B plus because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been great for them so far, averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, and shooting 34% from 3, and he's still only 21 years old. He's a really good perimeter defender. They also got Danilo Gallinari in that trade, and that they could flip him for a first-round pick that would even make this trade better for them. And obviously, they got all those picks from the Clippers and the Heat in this trade as well. B plus is my grade for that move. For Portland, it was trading for Hassan Whiteside. That was their biggest move. They had a really uneventful 2019 offseason. I'm giving that grade a C. Whiteside has been pretty inconsistent so far for them, and they're waiting for Jusuf Nurkic to come back, and nobody knows when that is happening. He's had his fair share of good games, and he's had his fair share of bad games. I feel like C actually might be a little bit harsh. We could bump that up to a C plus. But yeah, I just think 28 minutes a night is probably a little bit too much for Whiteside. And then obviously when Nurkic comes back and he's fully healthy, you'd expect that to go down to more of the 20-22 range. And the final team is the Utah Jazz, who had 2 moves that I really didn't know which one to choose from. First one was signing Bojan Bogdanovic. I'm giving this grade an A because he's been arguably their best offensive player so far this year. He's averaging 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists a night, and he's shooting 46% from 3 on 7 attempts a night. And then their other big move was trading for Mike Conley, and I'm going to give this grade a C minus. Now, they didn't really give up particularly a lot in this move. Just Conley's been pretty much awful for them so far this year. He's averaging 14 points, 4.5 assists, but he's shooting 37% from the field, and he's also shooting 37% from 3, which isn't horrible. But yeah, his offense hasn't been great. He's looking like he's possibly lost a step on the defensive end, but it's still not bad at the moment. So yeah, that was me grading each team's biggest move so far from the 2019 offseason. Obviously, you're going to expect some of these grades to go up for the rest of the year or down, and I do plan on doing another one of these once the 2019-20 season wraps up. So yeah, that is going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy, and drop a comment what other videos relating to the NBA you would like to see next. I love you guys. That is going to be for me, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.